Awesome. Got it. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're super glad to have all of you that are live with us today. And any of you that are watching the recording later, glad you're here. Just a note, last week we had a little bit of a, we didn't get the recording up, sorry, but it's uploading as we speak right now.
I'll take care of it while Carol's talking, so it'll be there.
Perfect. And we will be nice and kind, and we understand it was our fault. We didn't get the recording up, but it will be up. And then and it wasn't a super long one, so you shouldn't be too far behind anyway. But anyway, it'll be up there today, so you can watch that later. All right, let me share my screen. Make sure I share sound as well. Okay, and then this is always the tricky thing because the toolbar gets in the way sometimes. Sorry, 1 second. Three. Awesome. Okay, now I'll get on the right tab and then we'll be good to go. I think it's this one. Nope, this one. Nope. Yes, that one. That one was right. Okay. Okay, so welcome to week 7 of our class. I can't believe we're already at week 7, but hopefully all is going well for you. If anybody has any questions from last week, besides where's the recording, we got that. Please ask away or put in the chat, or make sure you reach out to your instructor.
And nothing in the chat, Carol.
Okay. And then just hoping that your technology integration plans are moving forward. It's a great idea to start this week if you haven't already, just so you have enough time to get through the weeks that you need to do, and then still be able to reflect and write up your whole integration plan when it's due on week 11. So anyway, if you have any questions on that or need any help with anything, please reach out. All right. Our assignments for this week, I'm going to switch back over to our the Canvas course. So our reading this week is on chapter 6, generating and testing hypotheses. And as you can see here, it goes through elements 21 through 23. And you can go back and watch in our flip the people who have covered those particular elements. There was some really great things that people recorded in the flip. So go back and watch that for those, but also that's your reading this week. There's also some supplemental reading on blended learning. All of these options here that are supplemental are really great information, but again, they are supplemental. But if you can jump in and take a look at those too, it's great information. Our discussion for this week is to think about online learning versus face-to-face learning. And there's some questions here that I think will make you think. And it's kind of interesting because we've kind of been through both, right? All of us that are teaching, because we had that time before the great shutdown, remote learning time through the pandemic. And then we all of a sudden had to turn around immediately and be these amazing online teachers, right? For all these kiddos that now had to be quarantined or for, whatever was going on. So kudos to everybody who lived through that and did such a great job. You all were amazing. Honestly, when I talk with people from other states, the state of Utah did an amazing job with the remote learning and all the things that we did. So I was really happy to hear that, because there were other states that didn't fare so well. I'm hopeful too that shows in our students. I know no matter what, even though we had remote and all that kind of stuff, that there were some things that were hard for students. And we have these kids kind of going through the system now that had 3 years of interrupted education. And so we're having to deal with some of those things. But what I hear from teachers is that they are able to deal with them, that they are able to help kids to get caught back up and to get some good experience. But this prompt this week, I think, is a really interesting one, and a really good one to really think about. And so I think it will be a good one to really kind of dig into and give some good answers to those questions. Because I think there could be some opposing views as well, which is not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing to have some of those. I don't think that. I think this other way. I think it'll be a really good discussion, is what I'm saying. So hopefully you will enjoy doing that discussion this week.
Carol, can I interrupt for just a second and give an unabashed advertisement? May I share my screen for just a moment? I promise, just 1 minute, and I'll let you get back on, I promise.
No
we
problem.
were really blessed this week with a visit from Abby Cox, the governor's wife, who came and visited with our pre-service teachers. And let me share my screen with you. This is a Deseret News newspaper account. One of the things that I'm just particularly impressed with her is she's, for the last couple of years, put on this I'm going to miss the title of it, but a gala honoring teachers. And we're going to be up, SU is going to be taking some of our teachers up, as well as some of our faculty and students as well too, to celebrate and say thank you, teachers, for everything that Carol has just shared just a moment ago. So again, not forcing it on anyone, but just wanted to make you aware of that. I think it would be a good thing for you to look into and a great way to connect if you like. I hope I'm under my minute, Carol. It's all yours again.
That was great, Tony. Thank you. Okay, make sure I've got sound shared. Okay. All right. So that's the prompt. And hopefully that's something that will be good as a discussion this week. Okay. The next assignment that we have this week is to do a flipped learning instructional video. And so if you haven't, if you don't know about flipped learning already, there's lots of resources here to help you kind of get an idea of what that all is about. But basically it's having something that your kids watch. It flips what happens. So normally you would have, some instruction, maybe some direct instruction, maybe a lecture, maybe something like that. And then later you do some sort of application of that knowledge that the students gained. And that all happens, like in class, and then you have homework assignment. That's the application typically. And in this sense, it's the opposite. So instead of doing the application homework piece at home, they would do that during class. And what they would do at home is watch the direct instruction or the lecture or whatever it is that you need them to have the background information. They would do that as the homework assignment. I've also seen, just because I hear this a lot from a lot of teachers, like, I can't get my kids to do that type of homework. Yep, hear that a ton. And there's lots of different tricks that you can use to get them to do it. But I've also seen it happen in a modified way where that actually happens in the classroom as well. So both things are happening. What I like about that is by videotaping yourself as part of that instruction, it kind of multiplies you as the teacher, right? Because then each student on their device have a chance to watch you doing the instruction for them, or the lecture or the background information, whatever it is. They're able to do that. They also, accessibility wise, that gives them a chance to pause or go back and re-watch if they needed to, which is kind of a nice option, right? So anyway, think about this with the flipped. If you don't know about it, there's tons of resources there. If you do know about it, great, move on and create a video. Then you're going to share that video with your students and then reflect on any feedback they have for you on doing that type of activity with them. If you are not currently teaching, then you might want to find a colleague and ask them to kind of review it and give you some feedback, so that you can also submit with your video, submit your reflection, which is the feedback you either got from your students or from your colleague. And then this is something you can add to your digital portfolio, which is due the very last week of this class. So any questions on the assignment for this week in creating that flipped learning instructional video?
I don't have any question. Can I have just 1 or 2 minutes for an example?
Yes.
A dear friend, teacher of mine, Diane May, down at Bunkerville Elementary, just outside of Mesquite. She was in charge of 6th grade at the 6th grade to teach all the 6th graders how to use locks. And it took a week of her time showing kids how to use the locks back and forth, until she discovered, I can flip this. I can record myself. I can show them how to do it. I can require of my learners that they watch that video 3 times with their mom and dad. They practice that at home and then come. So anytime a child would come to me and say, Miss May, I can't get my lock to open up. She would say, how many times have you visited with your parents about that? Well, I haven't. Go home tonight. You watch the video 3 times with your mom and dad and you do it at home. And she cut in 1 year. She cut the time down from a week to 2 days was all she needed to do to get those 6th graders through that. So that time on task is so precious and so important. And we all have, Carol, and everyone here. We all have students who have come to us 100 times. How many times have I told that to you? Watch the video 1 more time and work your way through it. And you can't have them watch too many, but still, it does some take more time than others with certain concepts. And that is just fine. This is a way to be able to address it. I'm talking too much. Thank you, Carol. It's all yours again.
No, you're perfect. That's awesome. There's lots of tips as well with video. One of those is not to make your video too long. You want it long enough to get the information that needs to be there, but not so long that your kids tune out, right? And typically that's like a minute per year old that they are, but not always, because sometimes even in high school, you think, oh, I got, 20 minutes I can do, and 20 minutes a lot of times is way too long still, even for high schoolers. So I kind of think in terms of like right now, what's really big for high school age or the secondary group is TikToks, right? And those are like 15 or 30 seconds. So it's super short, but you could maybe chunk the information that you have so that it's like that. So it doesn't feel like they've been on your video for 5 minutes. It's because it's chunked. Or so there's little tips and things like that. And for younger age kids, obviously, the attention span that they might have and what it is that you can get to them that will be instructional, or that will be helpful with what's going on in your lesson coming up. Okay. Let's see, let me go back to the slides and see where we are. Okay, I think so that's all of the assignments for this week. And then just reminders and clarifications. So your tech integration plan, we asked you to turn in a draft of what you were going to do. And that was to fulfill part 2 of the overall whole project. So you should be looking at what all the requirements are for that tech integration plan, and the actual integration part hopefully should start this week or very soon, so that you have enough time to get through the whole plan and then be able to finish out the requirements that are on that. So if you have questions on the requirement, I think we opened that page, or we have a page that shows the whole tech integration. Let me go back to our course and show you that. So if I go to,
it should be in that module between weeks 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. Right here. So you should be able to see a page like this. Like Clint said, it's between modules 1 and 2. There's a page in there. So number 1 was you individually planned. Number 2, that collaborative planning with that draft. That's what that fulfills. Then you're going to implement for 4 weeks. And then you're going to create this presentation, which is, it's just a video way of saying what happened. And then there's also a paragraph that you'll write, or sorry, a written part to it. It'll be a little more than a paragraph, but reflecting on that whole project. So those are all the parts and pieces. And then you'll just turn that in as either a website URL or a media recording or your file upload, all those pieces, however you need to get it to us so that it all comes in with those requirements. Okay, questions on that? Okay. All right, and then we have a peer review that's coming up on your digital portfolio. And this is an extra credit assignment, but we have it in there just because it's really nice to be able to look at what other people are doing when they create a portfolio. But it's also helpful that when other people look at yours, that you get some effective and useful feedback. So it isn't required. However, it is helpful. So we left it in as an assignment, but it is extra credit. So if you are willing to do that, which we would love if you could, give at least a couple of people some review and some good feedback for them. Everybody knows the portfolio is not due yet. So as you look at this peer review, just keep in mind, not all the portfolios are complete yet because they're not due yet. But if you can give them some feedback, and even if you notice something like, oh, I noticed these were the things that were missing, but what you do have, here's my feedback, that would be great. And then if anybody likes doing that kind of thing and you have the time, if you could do more than 2 people, that would be fantastic. But really, we're just hoping that you can look at least 2 other people and give them some good feedback, and that would be helpful. And then hopefully at least 2 people have looked at yours so that you also get that effective feedback for yourself. So just know it is an extra credit. But it is it just falls in line with all of the rest of the assignments within our course. And that's why, as we were hoping it could be useful to you.
One comment in the comments, Clint shares highly encouraged. We
Yes.
agree, Clint, we agree.
Highly encouraged, mostly because we would just want it to be really helpful for everybody. Okay, any other questions? All right.
They're quiet in the chat too,
They are.
Carol.
Quiet today, but that's okay. All right, so it is now time for our presentation, and I think I left a couple of names off. Sorry about that, but we had some really great element presentations for week 7. So go in and watch week 7. Everybody did an amazing job. I've pulled one up, and it is Stephanie. So we will watch Stephanie's.
Hi everyone, so I am here to talk to you today about academic notebook entries. These are something I'm actually very passionate about. I used to teach middle school Spanish, and I actually had my kids do a written academic notebook, but I think there's so many wonderful benefits of doing them digitally, because you can go to 3 different sites, like either Slides Mania, Slides Carnival, or if you're a teacher that likes creating your own templates, then you can go to Canva and create basically a whole template of how you want the students to outline their notes for your class. And then when you are ready, you can share those and have them on Google Slides and make a copy for all the students. Then the benefits of having an academic notebook is that the students can be more organized because they already have a template of how you want the notes to look in their classroom, in your classroom, and for them. And then it will be collaborative because you could have the students share their notes in case somebody misses a day or something like that. And also through Google Slides, you can comment. So if somebody, you may not want them to have the editing access, but you might say, hey, if you missed today, have somebody, or they could have a partner and they could share their slides and they could comment and say, here's what you missed, or anything like that. And then creation is key. So as students are creating their own notebooks and taking ownership of their learning, they're getting a lot more learning done than if you are just taking all the notes or putting up a slide for them to learn. So academic notebooks are amazing. And yes, so I highly encourage any teacher at any grade level to use an academic notebook because even at the kindergarten level, you could have them insert pictures with a letter and for their sounds and all that fun stuff. So there's.
Okay, so that is our presentation for this week. Hopefully Stephanie will need to send, do they need to send you an email, Tony?
Send me an email. Send me your t-shirt size. I've got an SUU teacher education t-shirt for you, Stephanie. Send it to me and we'll get you one, I promise.
Awesome. Okay, and like I said, everybody else this week did really an excellent job on there. So thank you for those who did that. Okay, any questions, please reach out to us. Here's our information. And just let us know what's going on and if we can help out or how things are going. All right, that is it.
Thank you, Carol. Who is leading us next week?
It's Brandon.
Brandon, thank you. And Clint, get well. Clint, get well. We're thinking happy thoughts for you.
I'm on the mend.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thanks,
I'm just not
everybody.
camera ready by any means. So
It's all good.